share my screen. That one. Okay, let me know when you see it.
Yep, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so Master Files Corporation, again, click on Modify and come over to the Contracts tab. So there's 2 items here. Personally, I think they're self-explanatory. You know, do you want APMX to automatically assign a contract code? Either yes or no. And then you do the same thing that we do for all other areas of APMX that have auto-assign optional. You enter the last contract number. Excuse me. The email contract expiration alert can be emailed to a contract owner, which is defined in the contract file, or it can be emailed to the buyer, which is defined in several different ways in the software. Or you can put a check mark in this and send it to both. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at owner. And that's it. So fastest lesson ever, probably. But what I want to do is go to contract file, and just take a look at these fields real quick. So the contact tab in the contract file is the basic information that you can store with regards to your contract. Over here on the bottom right is where you assign an owner. So if I want all expiration dates, if I want a notification sent to me on all expiring contracts, or this, actually it isn't site-wide, it's per contract. You can have a different owner per contract. Then I'm going to pull the name for this contract in here under the owner field. Now you can also define who the buyer is right here. Okay, so I can add a second person if I wanted to. So for right now, I think I'm just going to leave it and click over here on this linked POs tab. So here's how it works with contracts. Every time you pull a contract into a purchase order, and contracts are pulled into purchase orders, not requisitions. So it's important to know that difference when you're speaking to customers, when you're trying to make a determination about what their actual needs are. So if they're wondering if they can use purchasing only and have the contracts module, well, yes, they can, because EPMX only pulls the contracts into the purchase order, and then it tracks all of them in this queue right here. So you could bring up the contract and take a look, and you'll see a list. We build a lot of lists in EPMX, displaying of everything here. Of course, you can add attachments. Let's say your contract is for equipment and you want to add an image, you can do that here. Over on the main tab, this is where you're going to store your legal agreement or your contract. And it's a required field. So notice there's a red asterisk. I can't change that. So that is a requirement. You do have to upload the copy of the contract in this module. There isn't a lot of room for renaming things in the contract module like there is throughout the rest of the software. So I wouldn't get into that kind of a conversation with people, with potential customers or current customers about that. I would do your research first. I would never commit and say, yeah, we can rename a lot of fields. I would say, we can rename some fields, but I'm going to have to test and see how that will affect the rest of the software if we rename one of these fields. Now, you might get some people who will argue with you and say, well, that doesn't make sense. What if this and that? And, they don't understand our software. So, of course, they're going to say that sometimes. And then a simple, I understand. That's why I just want to make sure that everything works the way you want it to before I commit to it. So really, that's it with the contract. Now, what you can do is you can run reports. The reports in contracts are kind of like a report writer. You click on the kind of report you want. These are preset reports, or you can build your own custom report by clicking on custom report and choosing the fields that you want to see from this list down here, and then clicking on run or CSV. But I believe when we go to purchasing PO analysis report, which you should probably know by now is my favorite report. Let's see if there's a contract here. I don't see a contract here, but I do believe that when you run this report and you export it to CSV, so there's no filter here. But when you run this, let's see, there, it's identified with a contract right here in column BR. So you could track your contracts this way and your spend this way also. What I would do is pull the report in CSV format, apply some filters up here, and narrow down what you want to see, or you can also do a sort and sort by this column, the contract column, and then you know, manipulate it in Excel however you want to see it. All right. One other thing that's important to note is that you cannot create a contract outside of the contract date and use it. Okay, what I mean by that is, let's say I know I've got a contract coming up starting March 1st, 2021, and it's going to run through February, the end of February 2022. I can come in and create that contract, and it will be in the contracts file. But when I go to purchasing standard PO and I try to pull the contract in right here, it will not show up for me until the start date, which is March 1st. Okay, so I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, I created a contract and it's not there. What happened to it? And, well, that's what it is. The contract dates are not in alignment with the date of the PO, and you can't create a PO for March 1st. Let's say you're trying to get ahead of your work and you put in the contract and you create a PO because the PO is going to start on March 1st or going to be placed, the order is going to be placed on March 1st, and you're just going to save and suspend it. Not going to work. You can't see that contract to be able to pull it in until March 1st. Okay, any questions?
No.
Nope.
Okay, contracts is not a module that is one of our most popular modules. We do have several customers using it, but it's not as widely popular as requisitions, purchasing, receiving, and inventory. So I'll add this reporting to our Dropbox file, and if you get questions, you can always go back and refer to it. All right, so Karan, if you want to leave, be my guest, I'm going to stop the recording and